the culture here was so strong even when I was younger.
I don't think anyone in the US would outwardly express.
I don't want to be judged by someone who just met. Sorry. Now I'm different.
You're sort of the way our brains work as human beings, though.
Definitely,
That, like,
definitely.
evolved to be able to very quickly see a person. I don't have to obey the rules. This isn't my country. This isn't my culture. I can be loud on the train. You know, I can be rude, right? But I've always tried to be as polite as possible.
So I can talk. So we can't film anything.
Maybe we can just have a drink. You should go first.
Oh. Super. 2名はい。
おしゃべりできないお店なんですけど大丈夫ですか？
はい。はい。次は
次はイタリアド空間という
チャット GPT。
それでなんかあれカフェがダメならクラウドのせい、私のせいじゃない。
じゃあいつもクラウド
クラウド
いつもクラウド使ってる。外国人の方が知ってるよね。
あ、そうね。
これ一緒のやつ。
はい、一緒。
I still remember, like a salaryman 入ってきて居酒屋に。And then salaryman said, "Oh, あなた美人可愛いですね。You are quite upsetting, right? At least not really happy, you know.
Maybe a little bit.
Just a little bit. I know. I met one different girl last time, and she said exactly the same thing. But in Japan, nobody really understands like why she or you feel that way. You want to talk about this? Basically, lookism. Do you know lookism?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel actually when someone said like, "Oh, 綺麗ですね、美人ですね." Do you actually feel happy?
So that situation, I think the thing that made me mad at the time,
Yeah.
there were two things, right? So the first one is I was not quite so mad that he was complimenting me, right? It was more that the way that I felt about the situation was that he saw that I was a foreigner and he probably assumed I couldn't speak Japanese,
okay.
and therefore he felt comfortable just saying out loud to my face a comment like that.
Oh, I see. I
right?
see. Yeah.
And like that's happened to me before where, you know, Japanese men feel like, oh, it's okay for me to say whatever because they assume that I don't understand, right? You know, because like I've had Japanese men like straight up comment like on my body, you know, very specifically in front of me thinking that I don't understand, you know? So that was the first thing. Now, when he said that to me, you know, I immediately looked him in the eye and said, arigatou gozaimasu to try to indicate,
Yeah.
like, I understood you, right? And I could see he felt a little bit awkward.
But it doesn't mean you are ありがとうございます, right? You don't mean, you know, thank you.
Yes, but
Yeah.
it's more to convey to him, like,
Try to be more
I
polite.
understand. Yeah, I understood what you said, right?
Yeah.
To embarrass him a little bit,
Yeah.
right? So that's the second thing that made me mad. So you and I talked about it a few days later. Do you remember?
What?
A couple days later, we went out to dinner and we talked about that incident. And you said to me,
Yeah. Oh, yes.
that you said to me, you shouldn't have embarrassed him. You know?
Did I say that? Oh, sorry. Now I'm different
No, you're different.
because I'm living in Australia.
It's true.
Or maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yes. So that was what made me. That second thing that made me mad was, you know, I understand. Like I totally understand that it's a different culture here. You know, like totally understand that. And as someone who has spent a lot of time in Japan, you know, I've really tried to make an effort to, you know, assimilate as best as I can. Right. You know, I think a lot of foreigners and a lot of Americans will come to a place like Japan and feel like,
Yeah.
I don't have to obey the rules. This isn't my country. This isn't my culture. I can be loud on the train. You know, I can be rude, right? But I've always tried to be as polite as possible, to match what other people are doing as much as possible. Right?
Yes. Definitely. However,
Still a limit to that.
of course, you need to set your boundary as well. Yeah.
So yeah, I think about that whole situation a lot. Actually.
Oh, so it's not just one single factors that make you feel bad,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Okay. And some girls say that I don't want to be judged by someone who just met or even don't know. I'm not the thing, you know. Why have to be judged by someone? Do you feel the same? あ、綺麗ですね。可愛い。
I mean, yeah, of course. No one wants to be treated like an object. Like everyone would prefer that they're more known, right? By like who they actually are.
Yeah.
I mean, and at the same time, you know, if we remove sexism from it, right? Like sexism is a big part of it. But like if we set that to the side for one moment, we also have to acknowledge that that's sort of the way our brains work as human beings, though. Right?
Definitely,
That like we've
definitely.
evolved to be able to very quickly see a person or a thing and to very quickly have a sense of sizing them up, right?
Yep.
Is this person bigger than me? Are they older than me? You know, like, are they attractive to me? Are they not attractive to me? Right? Like, and our brain operates like so quickly, you know,
Just
thinking
so
about it
instant,
so
yeah.
instant, right?
Yeah.
So it's sort of a thing of like, I think our brains are always going to do that. But it's one thing to have that instinct, and then it's another thing to then let it affect how you treat the person, or
Yeah.
whether or not you feel like it's okay to say something to that person, or
Yeah.
whether you think it's okay to disregard that person, right, or ignore that person.
Yeah.
You know?
Like when it comes to lookism, this is very extreme example. Like, oh hey, I like you, you know. And what do you like? You don't know anything about me, you know. You know, we can't really say, oh, I like your personality. You don't know. Some women feel like this is not compliment. But some girls say, oh, thank you,
Sure.
you know.
Sure.
But men really don't know that what kind of compliment are actually really good to women. Do you feel happier when someone say, oh, you are so beautiful? What kind of level that you, you know? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think about the times when I've been approached by a man like in person and was like asked me out on a date, right? Approached by a stranger. Like for instance, you know, years ago I have a memory of, you know, I was just like grocery shopping and there was a guy in the same aisle as me, you know,
Like nampa.
ちょっとな。Like, you know, he saw me and he said, and he approached me and he said, hey, like, I think you're really beautiful. Like, would you feel okay, like, exchanging information, or like, can I take you on a date or something like that? And I know some women don't like that. At that time, I actually like really respected the fact that like he was courteous about it. He wasn't pushy, you know, and I appreciated that. Like, that's a very vulnerable thing.
Yes.
It is very risky, right? And so, you know, so I respected he wanted to take the risk, right? So in that instance, like, that was okay. However, I totally understand the feeling of like, I think it'd be very easy for me to feel like I'm just in the grocery store. Like, I'm not here to be perceived by you or consumed by you. So like, I could also see at another time that being really bothersome.
Yeah.
You know?
And also, I just want to say, like, moteru. Do you know the moteru? Yeah. Japanese doesn't matter man or woman. Really crazy about moteru.
If you're moteru kadoko.
Yes. I want to be motetai from other ones. But in Australia or New Zealand, almost I never hear that someone say, I want to be motetai.
I don't think anyone in the US would outwardly express motetai, right? Because I think to outwardly express that makes it sound like you're very vain, right? Very erasol or something like that, you know. But I do think there's pressure, especially on women, to always make themselves attractive, like at all times.
Like motetai?
Yes.
Okay. In general or
I think in general.
in general?
But I think no one would
Say.
specifically say that. I
Chris.
feel like in Japan, like, to be motetai is もうちょっとなんか当たり前という。
Yes. Like when I was kids, you know the Valentine?
Yes.
Yes. So usually Japanese girl put the chocolate and then the men's shoes. And then
靴にいる。
yeah, 学校で
知らなかった。
女の子が
靴に。
靴の下駄箱のシューズボックスにチョコと手紙入れて and the man said, oh, how many chocolate you got today? And oh, I got 2, I got 0, whatever. Yeah. And then one person get like 5 or 6. Okay. And then, oh, I'm moteteru. Yeah. And I didn't feel any sense of like jealousy. No jealousy at all. But that's like when I was even like 7 or 8 years old. So I think the culture here is based on like you are be liked by someone, not like you like somebody.
Sure, but to
be liked. Yeah. So I feel this is like a shonin yoku.
承認欲求って。
Like shonin yoku is
あ、承認欲求がわかるけど。
yoku. So approval from people.
承認、はい、わかる。
わかる。
わかる。
Yeah. So I think the culture here was so strong even when I was younger, until even Oji-san age.
Sure.
So they don't know how to like or love someone because they want to be loved. Yeah. Yeah.
When the winter winds are blowing